If you have ever caught yourself wishing away Monday through Thursday just to get to the weekend, you are definitely not alone. But the shift that could actually make your weekdays feel lighter and more meaningful might be gentler than you expect. This video is about one simple change, learning how to make your weekdays feel better without waiting for the weekend. Right now, that matters because most of us spend 5 out of 7 days on autopilot, and that is a huge chunk of life we deserve to enjoy. When you start making this small adjustment, you may notice that your sense of time slows down and your daily tasks feel less draining. The surprising truth is that we often make weekdays harder by the way we think about them, not because they are actually that bad. In this video, I will walk you through this one shift step by step, keeping it calm and practical so you can try it today. Let us begin with the first thing you can do to change how the morning feels before your day even starts. Scene 1. What this topic means in real life. You know that feeling when Monday morning rolls around and your energy just drops? This topic is about changing that feeling so your weekdays don't feel like a countdown to Friday. It means finding genuine satisfaction in the ordinary hours between Monday and Friday. Think of it as making your Tuesday afternoon as meaningful as your Saturday morning. A lot of people believe weekdays are just something to get through, but that belief can change. When you start treating each weekday as its own little life, the resistance softens. The real shift is realizing you don't need the weekend to feel alive during the week. Let's explore why this matters so much for your everyday well-being. Scene 2. Why this matters so much for everyday well-being. Living for the weekend puts your happiness on hold for 5 days out of 7. That leaves most of your life feeling like a waiting room instead of an experience. When weekdays feel dull, your overall mood dips and your motivation suffers. Your well-being isn't just about Saturday and Sunday, it's about the whole week. Research shows that people who find small pleasures in daily routines report higher life satisfaction. By improving how you experience weekdays, you actually stretch your sense of fulfillment across every day. This doesn't mean ignoring responsibilities, it means bringing more presence into them. So what does life look like when this quality is missing altogether? Scene 3. What life looks like when this is missing. When weekdays feel like a burden, you probably drag through each morning with low energy. Your mind constantly wanders to the weekend, so you miss what is actually happening right now. Even simple tasks like sending an email or commuting feel heavy and pointless. You might notice a pattern of irritability, boredom, or a quiet dread of Monday. The common truth is that this mindset drains you before the weekend even arrives. Without any weekday satisfaction, Friday becomes a desperate release rather than a natural transition, and by Sunday night the anxiety of Monday returns because nothing has changed. So let's look at the common habits and beliefs that keep this cycle going. Scene 4. The common habits, patterns, or beliefs that block this. One big habit is treating weekdays as a waiting period, always focusing on what comes next. You might rush through morning routines, eat lunch at your desk, and mentally check out by afternoon. Another pattern is overloading weekdays with obligations, leaving no room for small joys. The belief that weekdays are inherently dull or stressful becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Many people also assume that enjoyable moments can only happen during free time on weekends. But this creates a false separation, where work and life feel like enemies instead of partners. The truth is, you can change these patterns without changing your entire schedule. The first real step is a simple mindset shift that changes how you see each day. Scene 5. The first mindset shift the viewer needs to make. Instead of seeing weekdays as obstacles, try viewing them as the actual present moment. This shift means accepting that your life is happening right now, not just later. The goal is not to love every work task, but to stop resisting the fact that they exist. When you stop fighting the weekday reality, you free up energy to notice what is good. One common misunderstanding is that this mindset means pretending to love boring work. No, it simply means acknowledging that this hour is part of your life, not a waste of it. Once you accept that, you can actually look for small ways to enjoy the moments you have. That acceptance naturally leads into a practical first step you can try tomorrow. Scene 6. The first practical step to begin changing. Begin by picking one small part of your weekday routine and giving it your full attention. This could be your morning commute, the first sip of coffee, or a short walk to a meeting. The key is to experience that moment without rushing to the next thing on your list. Notice how your senses react, the temperature of the air, the sound of footsteps, the light outside. A realistic truth is that your mind will wander. That is fine, just gently bring it back. Doing this once a day builds a new habit of being present during the week. Over time, these small moments add up and weekdays start feeling richer and less like waiting. In the next part, we will look at how to expand this practice into your whole work day. Let's paint a picture of what this actually looks like on a regular Tuesday. It's not about suddenly loving every single minute of your workday. Instead, you might notice a small shift in how you move through the hours. You find yourself pausing to feel the warmth of your coffee mug without rushing. The realistic truth is that some moments still feel dull or frustrating. But you start to catch yourself when you're mentally checking out and waiting for the clock. That small awareness alone can make the morning feel a little less heavy. And once you see this in action, you can start building on it with a simple daily practice. One easy anchor for your weekday is to create a tiny moment of attention right after lunch. This matters because the middle of the day is often where we feel the most stuck. The idea is to step away from your screen for just 2 minutes and look out a window. Notice one thing you haven't really seen before, like the way light falls on a leaf or a cloud moving slowly. The pitfall here is thinking you need a full break or a long ritual for it to count, but even a brief, quiet observation can reset your mood without costing any time. Keep it small so it becomes something you actually want to repeat. Once you try it a few times, you'll likely notice a common mistake that trips people up. A big mistake is treating this practice like another task you have to check off. When you start forcing yourself to feel better, it backfires and creates more pressure. The simple truth is that the goal isn't to manufacture happiness on demand. Instead, it's about allowing yourself to be present with what already exists. A realistic pitfall is that you might forget some days and then feel like you failed. That frustration can push you right back into waiting for the weekend again. The relief comes when you accept that missing a day doesn't break anything. Letting go of perfection makes the whole approach feel far more realistic and less overwhelming. I am curious if any of this felt especially relatable to you today. Maybe there is one small step from this video that you want to try this week. If so, I would love to hear about it in the comments below. Reading what has worked for others is one of my favorite parts of this community, and if you are not subscribed yet, hitting that button helps you catch more videos like this one. You can also keep watching right here if you want to stay in this calm space a little longer. Either way, I am glad you're here. Thanks for being part of this conversation. To keep this from feeling like another chore, start with only 1 minute each morning. The reason this works is that a tiny commitment removes the resistance before you even begin. You don't have to change your entire routine or rearrange your schedule. Simply pick a regular moment, like when you first sit down at your desk, and take one slow breath before you do anything else. The realistic truth is that some days even that 1 minute will feel hard. On those days, just acknowledge the resistance and move on without guilt. This low bar makes it sustainable because you can actually do it every single day. As you get consistent, you'll start noticing real changes in how you feel emotionally and mentally. The biggest shift you'll notice is a gradual decrease in that constant longing for Friday. Instead of living in the future all week, your mind begins to settle into the present. You might feel less irritable during afternoon slumps or more patient with small annoyances. A practical insight is that your tolerance for boredom or frustration quietly increases. This happens because you're no longer draining energy by resisting the moment you're in. The emotional benefit is a surprising sense of lightness that wasn't there before. You start to realize that weekdays have their own kind of value, not just as obstacles to survive. Once you feel that shift, the next step is keeping the momentum alive when life gets hectic. When your schedule suddenly fills up, the temptation is to drop the practice entirely. But this is exactly when it becomes most valuable to keep a thread of it alive. The key is to scale down even further so it fits into the chaos. Instead of a full minute, you might just pause for one conscious breath between meetings. A realistic truth is that busy periods often feel like failures, but they're not. The relief is that even a 5-second reset can maintain the connection you've built. Remind yourself that consistency matters more than duration when life is loud. With this flexible approach, you'll carry the feeling into the next part of your week without losing ground. Over time, this small change in how you approach weekdays starts to reshape your whole daily experience in subtle but real ways. It matters because most of us treat weekdays like something to survive, not something to live inside. As you keep practicing presence and small acts of care during the week, you begin to notice more moments that feel full rather than empty. A Tuesday morning coffee break or a quiet moment after work gradually stops feeling like background noise. The key is that this isn't about huge transformations overnight. It's about the slow accumulation of small, meaningful routines. Over weeks, you may find yourself feeling less strained by Wednesday and more curious about what the day could hold. The practical takeaway here is to trust that your weekday practice is building something steady beneath the surface. And as that foundation grows, you'll naturally face less resistance when life gets hectic. Even after you've made progress, a realistic challenge that will still show up is the return of the old weekday autopilot. This matters because slipbacks are normal, not failures, and knowing they can happen helps you prepare. You might have a stressful Monday where deadlines pile up and your new practice falls away completely. In that moment, it's easy to think your whole approach isn't working and that you're back to square one. The truth is that one rough day doesn't erase the pattern you've been building. It just tests it. The benefit of facing this challenge is that it clarifies what you actually need when pressure hits. A simple way to handle it is to remind yourself that tomorrow is a new chance to return to your practice. That mindset alone can stop a temporary stumble from turning into a full retreat. If you are looking for more gentle guidance on making ordinary days feel more nourishing, I have a suggestion. Head over to www.happylifetribe.com for practical ideas and steady encouragement. That space is built for people who want to live with more calm and intention, not pressure. You will find articles, prompts, and tools that support a mindful lifestyle without feeling overwhelming. It is all about small, realistic steps that fit into real life. Whether you have 5 minutes or a whole afternoon, there is something there for you. It is a helpful next step when you want a little extra support between videos. I hope to see you over there whenever you feel ready. When you do slip back into old patterns, the way you recover makes all the difference in keeping the change alive. It matters because harsh self-criticism tends to push you further away from the practices that help. Instead of judging yourself for missing a few days, you can simply notice the slip and choose one small action to reconnect. For example, you might pause for 30 seconds during your morning commute and take a slow breath, just to reset. The realistic pitfall here is trying to overcompensate with a big push, which often feels overwhelming and leads to another slip. Recovery works best when it's gentle and low pressure, like easing back into a habit rather than forcing it. A helpful insight is that each return strengthens your ability to bounce back faster next time. So let the recovery itself become part of your practice, not something you have to get perfect. This topic helps most people who feel stuck in the cycle of just getting through the week and living for the weekend. It matters because that pattern can drain your energy and make you feel like your life is on hold 5 days out of 7. If you often find yourself counting down to Friday or feeling empty on a Tuesday afternoon, this approach is designed for you. It's especially useful for those with predictable weekday routines like a standard job, school, or caregiving responsibilities. The reason is that those routines offer the perfect structure to layer in small, meaningful moments without huge extra effort. Even if your schedule is chaotic, the same principle applies. Finding tiny pockets of presence can shift your whole experience. The benefit is that you don't need a life overhaul. You just need to reclaim the parts of your weekday that feel like your own. And that sense of ownership is what makes the change last. To begin this change today, you only need one simple action. Choose a single moment on tomorrow's schedule and decide to be fully present in it. It matters because starting small removes the pressure to be perfect and lets you build confidence. That moment could be the first sip of your morning drink, the walk to your car, or the minute you sit down at your desk. The key is to pick something that already happens and add a small intentional pause, like noticing the temperature or the light. A realistic challenge here is that your mind will wander, and that's okay. Just gently bring your attention back without frustration. Doing this once tomorrow gives you a real experience of what this shift feels like, not just an idea. After that, you can repeat the same moment the next day, slowly building a thread of presence through your week. From there, you'll naturally start noticing other small opportunities to do the same. This change is worth practicing because it slowly transforms weekdays from something you endure into something you inhabit. It matters because you spend the majority of your life inside these ordinary days, not just the weekends. By learning to find moments of fullness in the middle of a Tuesday, you're reclaiming a huge part of your own time. There will always be stressful days and moments of autopilot, but those no longer define the whole experience. The beauty is that this practice costs nothing, requires no special tools, and can start with a single breath right now. Over time, it becomes a subtle background shift that makes everyday life feel less like a waiting room and more like your actual life. You don't need to be perfect at it. You just need to keep returning one small moment at a time. And that steady return is what makes weekdays feel better, not because they change, but because you do. So as you go into your week, I hope you feel a little more permission to let weekdays be something you can actually enjoy. Small shifts like the ones we talked about today really can make a difference over time. If this video resonated with you, please take a moment to like it and subscribe to Happy Life Tribe. Over at www.happylifetribe.com, you will find more encouragement, practical ideas, and support for building a calmer, more intentional life. That online community is full of others who are learning to bring more ease into their everyday routines. Whether you are looking for mindful lifestyle guidance or just a gentle reminder that you are not alone, you will find it there. Thank you for spending this time with me today. I hope your weekdays start to feel a little lighter, one small moment at a time.